Dhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajajana Ranjana Jaya Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. So we are reading from first canto, 13th chapter, verse number 42. It's coming. Yathā gāvo nasi protās tantyāṁ baddhāś dāmabhiḥ vāk-tantyāṁ nāmabhir baddhā vahanti balim īśituḥ yathā gāvo nasi protās tantyāṁ baddhāś dāmabhiḥ vāk-tantyāṁ nāmabhir baddhā vahanti balim īśituḥ yathā gāvo nasi protās tantyāṁ baddhāś dāmabhiḥ. Because they cannot be disobeyed in any circumstance. The man-made laws may be evaded by cunning outlaws, but in the courts of the supreme lawmaker, there is not the slightest possibility of neglecting the laws. A slight change in the course of God-made law can bring about a massive danger to be faced by the lawbreaker. Such laws of the Supreme are generally known as the codes of religion under different conditions, but the principle of religion everywhere is one and the same, namely to obey the orders of the Supreme God and codes of religion. Disobedience to these codes is the condition of material existence. All living beings in the material world have taken up the risk of conditioned life by their own selection and are thus entrapped by the laws of material nature. The human form of life is meant for understanding this conditioned life and then becoming free from the clutches of material existence. And only way to get out of the entanglement is to agree to obey the Supreme. Hare Krishna. So we'll have prayers. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunata Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Samadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratashve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhesha Kripa Sindhubhe Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas over here, so that I can speak something in Parampara. So it is pleasing to all the Vaishnavas, and it is in the glorification of Srila Prabhupada, Krishna, and all the Vaishnavas, and it is for my own purification. So I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas. So here we see a wonderful series of verses is going on. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was lamenting, and Narad Muni is coming, and he's explaining beautiful philosophy over here. So today's verse is also very nice. So if PETA, like people for the ethical treatment of animals, if they come across this verse, they will surely file some case against Srimad Bhagavatam or maybe ISKCON, and they will see that these Vedas they are allowing cruelty. But it is not. It is very traditional, like the bulls, right? They put that ropes in their nose so that they can be controlled. But once His Holiness Radharani Swami Maharaj in GV, he told, why are you putting these ropes for the bulls? So then that devotee over there, he said, Maharaj, it is very traditional, it is required for the bulls, because if you want to control them, then we need that. It is called nose ring. But Maharaj said, I have seen in Vrindavan, they don't put that, because bulls are like very free and they are very friendly. So you can try if it works without nose rings. But then they tried, and their observation was, if you don't want to have nose ring in bulls or cows, so that time they should have sufficient engagement. Right? If they don't have proper engagement, then it is likely that they are not controlled or restricted. So it is very symbolic. So Narad Muni, what is speaking is very important. So these Peta and other people, they may not understand, but how it is, if you are not controlled by something, if you are not controlled by higher authority, then our mind and senses will be loose, right? And we will not have any control over them. So that's what yesterday we saw, like Srila Prabhupada was telling that two purposes, that why we need restrictions, right? So scriptures, Shastra, they put a lot of restrictions for two things. To curb our sinful mentality, because as soon as living entity comes in this material world, he has that tendency to commit, to break four regulative principles: no meat eating, intoxication, gambling. One more. What is remaining? Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex, like that. So to curb our sinful propensity and sinful tendency, that is very much required, and to elevate our consciousness. So Prabhupada was explaining yesterday that from shash dhatu, actually three things comes. In another class, Prabhupada was explaining a very beautiful thing, that first we should be controlled by our guru. Right? Guru, as soon as we take shelter of guru, so guru does shasan. So first is shasan by guru, then shasan by shastra. So if you are not controlled, if you are not putting restriction on your mind and senses by the instruction of guru, by the instruction of scriptures, then there is another thing that is called shastra. So if you are not controlled by shasan, by guru and shastra, then shastra has to be applied. It means like kshatriya has to come in the picture, like police department is there. So if you are not controlling your senses, then it is guaranteed that you will commit sinful activities. And as soon as you commit some sinful activity or criminal activity, then kshatriya is required. So shastra is required to control you. So now here we see Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting, and we saw in the beginning also he was lamenting, and that time he was pacified by Bhishma Dev. And here we see that Narad Muni is coming at right time. He's coming and he's dispelling the ignorance and illusion of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So we see like we have Narad Muni's representative Srila Prabhupada. He has come in our life, and he's removing all our ignorance, he's removing all our darkness, right? We were suffering in this material world, but because Prabhupada came in our life through his books and through his disciples, and he's dispelling our illusion and ignorance. So today we are observing very important day, that is Srila Prabhupada's arrival in USA. So 17th September, so today is the day, 17th September at 5:30 a.m. Prabhupada reached Boston Harbor Commonwealth Pier. So it is a very important day. So I thought we'll discuss something, we'll discuss some Prabhupada pastimes. So I was thinking we can directly read from Srila Prabhupada, what Prabhupada was actually feeling, what was his emotions, everything he mentioned in his Jaluda diary. So today we'll try to read some portion of it, and it is very interesting. So Prabhupada got this diary in around March or April in 1965. So he was going to Sumati Murarji, and that time India steamship company. So that time they had given one diary to Prabhupada. And amazingly, from that time onwards, Prabhupada started writing everything. So previously when Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, that time he used to keep some accounts, only accounts, so how he's spending his money. But here in this diary, he's mentioning so many things. Not only how he's spending, not only about his accounts, but to-do list also. So today I'm going to meet whom? So we can see, we can read so many things are there from April, May, June, July. But we'll directly jump to August, 12th August, because we have short time. But it is actually a small diary. We can read it in maybe 1 or 2 hours. It's a very small diary. We can read, and very important. And we'll understand that how Prabhupada is very wonderful personality. Like he used to observe everything, so many things, and he used to note down. But today we'll try to read, we'll try to see his journey on the ship. It is very interesting. Prabhupada that time, he was not having any followers. So Krishna inspired Prabhupada that to write. and so that we can later devotees and his disciples, they can read and understand what was happening to Prabhupada. Because later, when Prabhupada got so many followers and disciples, they were having everything like tape recorder, cameras, and everything. So they were recording everything. But that time, Srila Prabhupada was alone. So Krishna, very interestingly, he inspired Prabhupada to write down everything what is happening on that Jalduta diary, in Jalduta ship. So we'll go to 12th August, Tuesday, 12th August. To start for USA by M.V. Jalduta from Calcutta Port, King George Dockyard. So that time, this dockyard was known as King George Dockyard, but in 1973, it was renamed to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Like that. Friday the 13th. Today, at 9 a.m., embarked on M.V. Jalduta. Came with me, Bhagavati. So Prabhupada mentions some name, and also he mentions about his son's name, Vrindavan. The cabinet is quite comfortable. It is owner's residence, and therefore the sitting room, the bedroom, the bath, and privy, all equipped with first-class materials. Everything is nice in the first-class compartment. And thanks to Lord Sri Krishna for his enlightening Srimati Sumati Murarji for all these arrangements. I am quite comfortable. You're able to see now? Yeah. The ship started at 1:30 p.m. very slowly from the dock and reached near Botanical Garden and stopped at midstream of the Ganges till 11 p.m. and then turned towards the front and started. So this Botanical Garden is one of the very famous garden in Calcutta. So it has very big banyan tree, one of the largest banyan trees there. So it is quite steady. I cannot understand in my cabin if it is at all moving. I am so comfortable. The voyage was again stopped at 3:30 a.m. at Kalpi near Diamond Harbour and Gonokli, okay, and detained for about 8 hours. The delta of the Ganges is quite wide with shallow water. So here we see Srila Prabhupada, he is traveling, right? He's going alone. He's like a lone warrior. So warrior, generally what happens with the warrior? Warrior has two things. He has his army, but here we see Prabhupada is going alone. He was not having anyone with him, no followers, nothing. And yesterday I was just speaking with devotees. At least his son was there. He could have traveled with Prabhupada, but Prabhupada did not ask. So Sri Ravindranath he was telling me a beautiful thing. He said that actually, generally father, he doesn't have a lot of control over his children or his sons. Rather, if like some guru is there, so he has a lot of control over his disciples, but not on his family members or relatives like that. So we see Prabhupada is going alone, and his he's like warrior, and his war was against illusion and ignorance and complete Western civilization, but he is fighting alone. The closest pastime we can come across is Arjuna, right? Arjuna is fighting against Kauravas in Virat war. So he was that time alone, and he single-handedly defeated all the Kauravas. So for warrior, he needs his army. That is very important. But Prabhupada is alone. He's going alone. And second thing for warrior is weapons. Right? He should have his weapons. So in army, it is generally told, I don't know, Rajnath Singh is there. So generally in army, it is told that you have to breathe with a gun. Right? You have to be always alert. And you should have your gun with you always. So you have to breathe with gun. But for Prabhupada, his weapons was, so many things were with him, like holy name, like Srimad Bhagavatam, then prasadam. So Prabhupada had a lot of faith on his books. Right? And these are all external things, but there is one internal thing is that, so Srila Prabhupada had a lot of faith. Right? So in 1972, Shrutikirti Prabhu, he shares one pastime. So in 1972, in GBC, they had arranged GBC meeting. And all the leaders from different countries, they gathered in Mayapur. And Prabhupada was supposed to come on third day for a meeting. So devotees were like prepared. They were ready. So they had a lot of reports. So they knew that as soon as Prabhupada will come, and then Prabhupada will ask so many things that what is happening in preaching. Please show me the reports. How many books you distributed. So they were like set, all ready. Everything is ready everyone is ready with the reports. And when Prabhupada came, surely on third day, so that time he came and he asked only one thing. Do you have faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And Devotees were like shocked. And they could not speak anything. They did not speak anything. Then again Prabhupada asked, do you have faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And again, they could not speak anything. And third time Prabhupada asked, do you have faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And devotees they were thinking, so Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj, he says that we were thinking what to say, because we don't have that much faith that, yes, we can say that we have faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then Prabhupada said that if you have faith like me, like what faith I have in my heart that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, then in 18 days we can make whole world Krishna conscious. Right? So we see that Prabhupada was carrying this faith. So Prabhupada was not going with some external things like Srimad Bhagavatam or Prasadam and holy name, but internal thing that is very important, that he had faith on all these aspects. We also have that. We also have Srimad Bhagavatam, we have holy name. But what lacks is the faith. So Prabhupada had that very tremendous, sublime and transcendental faith. And we see that when Prabhupada was there, Prabhupada was going, and on the dockyard, only 3-4 people came. And so his only Sadhana Swami Maharaj, he speaks. He says that in 2015, they had like big celebration. So that was like 50th year, right? 1965, Prabhupada started, and they celebrated that 50th year celebration in 2015. So that time, Maharaj was telling that almost more than 30,000 people came to attend that festival. But when we see here, Prabhupada is going alone. Only 3-4 people are going. But then it was celebrated by more than 30,000 people. And that time, Vrindavan Day, he had also come. And he spoke some pastimes of Prabhupada, and he explained that how Prabhupada was going alone. And then later, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and Bhakticharya Swami Maharaj, they personally met Vrindavan Day. And then he said, actually, when Prabhupada left, so that time I was incessantly crying. I cried a lot. But then he said, actually, I was proud of my father. And that time he told one interesting thing. That time Prabhupada gave 40 rupees to him. Right? Prabhupada gave him 40 rupees to him, and he said, you can keep this with you, I cannot exchange, I don't need this. And then when later Prabhupada, we see that Prabhupada had a heart attack, and when he reached Boston, so that time with the help of Captain Pandya, Prabhupada wrote one letter to Vrindavan, and then he said that I gave you 40 rupees, I gave you that money that day, so you go to some specific shop in Calcutta, some Ayurvedic shop, and purchase this medicine. Actually, I was sick during my journey, I had a heart attack. So I was sick, so you purchase this particular medicine from this Ayurvedic shop and please send me to US. So this is how that Prabhupada was given that 40 rupees. So actually we see there is one more pastime. In that it is mentioned that Prabhupada used this 40 rupees when he came to Delhi, Chippiwada, right? So I was hearing one lecture by our Brahmanand Prabhu, right? So he told that actually we generally know that Prabhupada had 40 rupees, but he said that Prabhupada had little more than 40 rupees. Not much money, but little more than 40 rupees. So some Lakshmi he gave to Vrindavan that day, and whatever remained, he used in 1968, when he came to Delhi, that time for taxi, he used that Lakshmi. So we see that nobody was there, so it was a really humble beginning. So in 1920s or 30s, when Gaudiya Math, they were sending their disciples, like so many some sannyasis were going to United Kingdom. That time it was a grand festival, right? It was like advertised much, and so many people came. And before they going, books were already sent to UK, and from Gaudiya Math were sending a lot of money also from there. So it was like institutional effort. But here we see Prabhupada is alone. There's no institution, there's no support, but he's going alone. So it was a really humble beginning for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was not going for any sense gratification, because that time generally going to West means people were going to UK or USA like that. But and also it was not his personal ambition also, because it was instructed by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's why he was willing to go. And that is actually surrender, to go against our ambitions, desires. Sometimes we have ambitions and desires, but however glorious and spiritual our ambitions and desires, but to serve and to live and to die for someone else's ambition and desire, that is our greatest surrender, it is said. So we see after when Prabhupada took Vanaprastha, so that time he was actually from the beginning only, from 1922 only, he was thinking that how to fulfill the instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But after Vanaprastha, he was like very much thinking of going to New York and going to USA. And whoever he used to meet, he used to ask them, can you please sponsor? So once upon a time, Prabhupada was in Agra, right? And he was giving this house program. And after his house program, that the host, he was actually Agrawal, right? So he came to Prabhupada and he was sharing his heart. He was telling that actually my son, he went to USA for doing some engineering, electrical engineering, and he completed his education. But later, he got married to one American woman, and then he stayed back there only, and he's not coming back. So he was like very sorry, and he was sharing his heart. So he was expecting some empathy or some, like Prabhupada will speak some words. But then as soon as Prabhupada heard, Prabhupada was like very happy. Oh, your son is in USA? So like that, so Prabhupada, then Prabhupada said, can he sponsor me? Can he sponsor my visit? And that time this Agarwal, he was speechless, right? He could not speak anything. But later somehow he had a discussion with his son, Gopal Agarwal. And then he said that, can you arrange that this sadhu, he wants to come to USA. So can you please arrange his visit? So that time he arranged that Gopal Agarwal. He used to, previously also this Gopal Agarwal's father, he had told that please arrange something for Indian sadhus. And then this Gopal Agarwal, he had done a lot of documentation before also. But this time, but nobody turned up. Like no sadhu, nobody came to USA. But then this time Gopal Agarwal, he thought this is the last time. This is the last time I'm going to US Embassy, Indian Embassy, and I will do all the documentation and we'll see. But as soon as Prabhupada received that letter, so this letter actually came in Delhi. There was one shop. What is the shop name? Some Agrawal or something. So that letter came to that in Delhi, some shop, and then from there, that the shop owner, he gave to Srila Prabhupada, right? And then immediately Prabhupada wrote back that I'm coming. And Prabhupada sent his photo also, right? So he sent his photo, so that Prabhupada thought, I don't know, if I go there, then how they will identify me. But it was very easy to identify Prabhupada because he was in sannyasi robe, and that time nobody was there in USA like that. So he was the first Vaishnava sannyasi going to USA. And that time Gopal Agarwal, and they were also shocked. Oh, Swamiji is coming, right? So they don't know what to do with the Swamiji. But they were thinking, yes, let him come. We'll see what to do. But we see Prabhupada, he was very much desirous. And he's Mr. Choksi. You know, who is he? Choksi. Secretary of Sumati Muraji. So he used to make fun of Srila Prabhupada. So he used to say, Swamiji, you want to go to USA just like all other Swamijis, right? They go in old age and they want to settle there. They want to, before dying, they want to see USA, they want to see America, and they want to settle there and they want to enjoy whatever life is remaining like that. So he used to make fun of Prabhupada, but Prabhupada used to laugh. But Prabhupada was very much determined to go. And then once he said that, I never wanted to go to London because already my godbrothers, they went and some success was there, but he said they failed. So I want to try something else. I want to go to New York. Because after World War II, USA had become the center, like more, like a lot of prosperity and the technology was growing in USA. So Prabhupada used to say, sometimes I used to dream of going into New York. Prabhupada had never seen New York, but he used to dream that he is in New York. Right? So Prabhupada was so much determined, and he was thinking that how to go, which way, this way or that way. So he said that I used to scheme, should I go through Tokyo, should I go through Japan, so that it will be like cheaper. But he said I was always targeting New York, so I wanted to go there. Yeah, and then we see later, so Gaudiya Math devotees, so when Prabhupada came in Bombay, so Gaudiya Math devotees, they told Prabhupada that you can go to Sumati Murarji. She's a nice lady, and she can help you to print your books. Actually, this Sumati Murarji, we see that Prabhupada used to catch big people. So Sumati Murarji, she is known as the first woman of Indian shipping, right? And she was also like, when she married, at the age of 14, she had taken all the management of India Steamship Company. Right? So she was very powerful woman. And she had acquired, that time she had acquired a lot of boats. Almost 100, she had almost 100 boats. So what had happened after World War II, so these boats were constructed by America. Right? And they used all these boats in the war. But after, when war was over, so they were selling, America was selling boats for a cheap rate. And that time she had purchased all these boats. So all the boats were, they were named from a Jala. Right? So Jala Duta, Jala Dvipa, Jala Vihar, Jala Pari, so like that. So what had happened once, one pastime was there. So in London, after some time, so devotees heard that some Jaladuta had come to London. And they said, Jaladuta had come. So they were like running. They immediately ran towards the dockyard and they wanted to see the Jaladuta. But as soon as they reached there, so they saw that it was not Jaladuta, it was Jaladvipa. Like that. So like that, so Sumati Muraji, she had acquired so many boats like that. And she was also against. And she said, Swamiji, why are you going? You will die there. Actually, what had happened in the beginning, she agreed. In the beginning, she had agreed. But then secretary, this Chokshi and all of them, they came and they said, no, we cannot send Swamiji because he's very old, he's very frail. And what if he dies on the boat only? It will be like very depressing for the captain and all the people on the boat. And what they will do with the body? So like that. Then Sumati Mara, that time she also thought, yes, Swamiji is very old, and we should not send him on the boat. But somehow later, Prabhupada convinced her, and she agreed. And then later, that past time, you know, the P form and everything. So we'll go ahead. Saturday the 14th. The ship started at about 11 o'clock in the morning majestically. I do not feel any jerking whatsoever. But on reaching the Bay of Bengal, there's a tilting of the ship and the little rolling also. The roughness increased gradually on the upper Bay of Bengal and felt seasickness. There was vomiting tendency and dizziness. I felt uncomfortable the whole day and the night. Sea was foamy all through. It appeared like a big plate of water extending to 40 square miles, but actually it was endless so today. I'm reading a little fast because we have to cover and we have to reach Boston, right, today. It is a vivid example of God's Maya because it appears like something but factual, it is something else. So Prabhupada is appreciating like big ocean, right? Like it is one of the like example of God's Maya, right? And here is the first time on the second day only, Prabhupada started this seasickness, right? In the Bay of Bengal. Sunday the 15th. In the morning, I woke up and felt a little better, but I felt no hunger. Today, only a glass of lemon shikanji, lemon drink, nimbu pani. But the head dizziness is continuing. Up to 10:30, I was in the captain's room, radio room, chatting with the officers. In the radio room, they were dispatching news to other ships. The captain's room is full with nautical paraphernalia. I saw a chart of different photo of the sea. The grades are 0 to 10 degrees, and I think we are passing on the sea between 4 to 5 points. The scene of the 10th point was furious, and the 12th serious. The captain advised me to take more solid food. So 0-degree waves means flat, just like a lake. But now Prabhupada was in the Bay of Bengal, so that time 4 to 7, it was 4 to 7. And then 10th is highest and 12th is really serious. Monday the 16th. Today early in the morning, I saw the ship is plying on the surface of the sea, almost on 0 degree of waves. Yesterday night was comfortable, and although I did not take my lunch, I took a little chara murki, puffed rice with the milk. The ship ran all the night yesterday smoothly, and the sky, although not very clear. There was moonlight in the night. In the morning, there was sunshine, but after 11, the sea became a little more rough, showing foamy waves from distance. After passing the latitude of Trichinopoli, we experienced dark clouds, subsequently raining all over the sea. The siren sounded on account of hazy vision to warn other ships coming from the opposite direction. So these sirens are known as fog horns, right? Because whenever there's a lot of fog, the one ship cannot see another ship. So that time they have to blow a big horn, a big siren. At about 12 noon, At about 12 noon, it is raining heavily and the ship is stopped moving, occasionally sounding the siren. There is a constant sound of thunderbolt. This is the first time I am experiencing heavy rains in the midst of deep ocean. From 12 noon, we are passing through cyclonic weather. The ship is tilting too much. I felt seasickness all day and night. At 3 p.m., the ship turned towards Ceylon coast and we are now in the Ceylon water. Tuesday, the 17th. So here, it is a big paragraph. So here what Prabhupada is happening, what is happening, they are about to reach Colombo port and Prabhupada sees that there are so many fishermen. They had come inside the water. They are almost like 4 or 5 miles inside the water. And then Prabhupada appreciates that. So we'll go ahead. 18th, Wednesday. Today, 18th August, I felt quite normal and the seasickness completely removed. The ship remained silent the whole day on account of hazy sky and only a few loads of goods were admitted. I wanted to see the Colombo city, but I could not make any arrangement. The ship was standing at the midstream and I did not like to go alone. So, 19th, Thursday the 19th. So here, what is happening? So Prabhupada reached Ceylon and Colombo port, and as mentioned before, so Prabhupada wanted to see city, Colombo city. So he told to Captain Pandya, and then Captain Pandya arranged. And then one person who was a Gujarati person there in Sri Lanka, and then he arranged a nice car for Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada went for a nice tour there in Colombo. And then Prabhupada is very observant. Right? He used to see buildings and everything. He saw everything. And then Prabhupada, here Prabhupada mentions that he compares this Colombo to this, he is comparing the city to Madras and Pune. So cities like Madras and Pune, like that Prabhupada said. And the culture and civilization is Indian %. Okay, so we'll go ahead. That is a big paragraph. So Friday, 20th. So that is a Janmashtami. So today, 20th August, the captain arranged for a meeting on a board, the MV Jalduta, on account of Janmashtami day. And I spoke for an hour on the philosophy and teachings of Lord Shri Krishna. All the officers attended the meeting and there was distribution of prasadam. The matter was radiographed to Srimati Murarji in Bombay. The ship is stranded on the Arabian Sea about 4 miles away from the coast. We are in this position from 3:20 p.m. 20th August to 9:30 a.m. on 22nd. So almost for 2 days, ship was there only, and it is water everywhere, right? And you are inside, and it is very difficult. And we see Prabhupada is celebrating Janmashtami on the boat. So once upon a time I had heard that long back that Prabhupada did not wait for even Janmashtami, right? Just 1 week after Janmashtami was there, and then Prabhupada could have said that let us celebrate Janmashtami first in Vrindavan, celebrating Janmashtami in Vrindavan, and then after 21st, and next day is my Vyas Puja also. So after 21st I can go. But no, Prabhupada did not wait. Right? Prabhupada did not stop. As soon as he got ticket, he was ready to move. And then 2 days ship was there and did not enter Cochin port. Sunday 22nd. At about 10 a.m., we are now in the dockyard of Cochin. The dock is peculiar because it is by nature full of small islands. Some of the islands are full with nice hutments, formerly known as British Island. I saw my books from Bombay arrived in 5 cases, and the agents loaded them on the ship at 4 p.m. on 22nd August. So here in Cochin, Prabhupada's books arrived. Anyone knows how many books Prabhupada was carrying? Quiz. Prabhupada was carrying 600 books. 3 volumes, 200 for each. First volume 200, second volume 200, and third volume 300. So Prabhupada had, we will not read further part. So Prabhupada had a lot of faith on his weapons, as we were discussing, right? So holy name, Srimad Bhagavatam, and prasadam, like that. So we'll see when Prabhupada reaches there on the Boston. So that time, that was the first book distribution Prabhupada did in USA. So he had that books, Bhagavatam sets, and then he was having like as we discussed, he was having a lot of little, not much money, little Indian rupees that too. And then he wanted to have some Lakshmi, so he thought of distributing book to Captain Pandya. So he asked him that, can you please purchase my book, Srimad Bhagavatam? And then he said, okay, I will purchase. So what is the price? Then Prabhupada saw on the Bhagavatam, it was written 16 rupees and 18 paise. Like that it was written. And then Prabhupada said it is $16.80 to Pandya. So that was Prabhupada's conversation. And that time, $1 was 5 rupees. So Prabhupada earned more money. And then Pandya, he was ready. He said he gave $20 to Prabhupada and then he purchased. So that was the first book distribution, right? And a very important thing, very interesting thing, that before Prabhupada going to USA, Prabhupada books were already reached. Because in Delhi, Prabhupada had gone to US Embassy. And that time he sold 16 sets to them, to US Embassy in Delhi. And what they had done, they had dispatched all the Prabhupada books to Washington. So there is one famous library, big library, Library of Congress in Washington. So that is one of the biggest library in the world. And they had, so as soon as the books reached there, so they had dispatched to different universities and different bookshops. So when Prabhupada was going from Butler, Pennsylvania to New York, so that time he visited university in Philadelphia. And there, that was his first university program. And there he met this Norman Brown. He was one of the Sanskrit scholar. And then that time he got to know, Prabhupada got to know that he was having Prabhupada books already. Right? And then later when Prabhupada went to New York, that time he got the list from Library of Congress from Washington, that where all they had dispatched Prabhupada books. So different bookshops, different famous bookshops, Prabhupada books were already there. And then Prabhupada used to take bus from New York, and then he used to go to one of the famous library, that is New York Public Library. So he used to go there, and he used to see his books are there. So like my Srimad Bhagavatam. So he used to feel very happy. And he said that was my recreation during those days. So he used to take bus, go to that library and see, oh, books are there, like that. So he used to be very happy. And in 1968, so Prabhupada, that time Prabhupada had got two books. One is TLC, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and Bhagavad Gita by Macmillan, right? And then that time Prabhupada told devotees that you go out and start distributing books. So Brahmanand Prabhu, he had gone to one of the famous bookshop. And then as soon as he reached there, that there was one lady, and she saw that Prabhupada photo. And she immediately said that, I know this man. He had come, that couple years back, he had come, and then he was speaking about his books and everything. And at the end, he gave me something, some triangle item to eat. What was that? Samosa. So she said that was very, very delicious and tasty. So it was triangle, it was something fried, and a lot of vegetables were stuffed inside. So that was very tasty. Swamiji was very wonderful person. I will purchase all his books, like that she said. So that time, Brahmanand Prabhu gave that TLC and Bhagavad Gita to that bookshop. So Prabhupada had a lot of faith in his books, right? Because he was telling that these were books written by Krishna directly. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Monday 23rd. Today is another Ekadashi. We started towards Red Sea on the western front about 12:30 noon. The sky was almost clear and there was sunshine since the starting of the trip from Cochin port. We are floating now on the Arabian Sea. My seasickness again began. Headache, vomiting tendency, no hunger, dizziness, and no energy to work. It is continuing. There are sometimes showers of rain, but for a short time. There was a fellow passenger in my cabin. He is also attacked with seasickness. The whole night passed. Okay? So this is the sea, Arabian Sea, that troubled Prabhupada a lot. Right? So, and here Prabhupada, seasickness, right? We don't have that experience, but small version can be like, suppose if you are traveling by bus, because that time a lot of vomiting sensations are there, and we don't want to be there, right? We want to get down. So His Holiness Adhana Swami Maharaj, he shares his experience. In 1970s, he wanted to go to Hawaii, because in Hawaii, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, he had boats, right? So many boats. And then somehow Maharaj got some service, and then he went to Hawaii. At that time, this Prabhupada disciple, he said, can you, and then he invited Maharaj for a boat ride. And then Maharaj was very happy because Maharaj had seen some video of this boat ride and everything. And then Maharaj was happy, and then he went. But as soon as Maharaj went there, he started feeling seasickness and dizziness and vomiting sensations. And then that time Maharaj said, I wanted to jump. And actually he jumped. That time this Prabhupada disciple, he said, you cannot jump. Actually there are sharks in the water. You cannot jump. But Maharaj said, better I die there. So he jumped from the boat. And then this disciple, this Prabhupada disciple, he threw some boats, life boats, and then he saved Maharaj like that. So this seasickness is very, means we cannot imagine what is going on there. And only solution is that you have to look at some constant thing. So horizon is the only constant thing. You have to go on the deck and stand there and look at there. But the ship is constantly moving. You cannot even stand, you cannot sit, you cannot sleep. Sleeping is the worst. So only thing is that go on the dockyard, go on the port, and there only you can have that. But it was very difficult for a Prabhupada. And it is said this was only Arabian Sea. It is said rough ocean, rough ocean waves are 8 feet high. And this was only Arabian Sea, and the ocean waves are only 5 to 10 feet height, and maximum 15 feet. But we see later the boat is going to go to Atlantic Ocean, and the waves are 40 to 50 feet high. And here only Prabhupada has started feeling seasickness and everything. And it was very tough. And one thing is that no relative, no support. Sumati Muraji, she had arranged Captain Pandya, who was vegetarian. She was actually looking for some person who can travel with Prabhupada and who will take care of Prabhupada. But that was maximum that he was just a vegetarian person. But Prabhupada had no support and anything. Tuesday 24th. Today at about 1:30 p.m., I inquired from wheel room that we have come only 400 miles of the Indian coast. My seasickness is still continuing. I take my meals once only, but today I could not take my full meals, although I was fasting yesterday. Because yesterday was Ekadashi. I am feeling uncomfortable. And then from here, 25th Wednesday, beginning from today down, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31st. Nothing, no entry. Right? And then Prabhupada mentions something. Passed over a great crisis on the struggle for life and death. A separate statement has to be written on this crisis area. Right? So this is so in this week, Prabhupada got 2 heart attacks. Right? First heart attack on the first day, and second heart attack on second day. And then Prabhupada was saying that if one more, then I was dead. And that had no support. Nobody was there with Prabhupada. Right? And Prabhupada was going to USA. And USA is very famous for 911 emergency number, right? 911. So you just give a call and in 2-3 minutes you will be in ambulance. But here, no support and nothing. And this Srila Prabhupada told Bhagatji, right? Bhagatji is like that. His name was Vishwambar. So the person, well-wisher in Vrindavan, who had donated that Gurukul land. So Bhagatji had come to meet Srila Prabhupada, and that time Srila Prabhupada disclosed to him. And then Bhagatji told to Indradyumna Swami Maharaj, that Prabhupada told him that Krishna personally came and he was massaging, right? He was massaging. And Krishna personally became doctor for Srila Prabhupada. So we see that Yogakshema, those for his pure devotees, for his surrendered devotees, Krishna personally comes and he takes care of them. Then we'll go ahead. Wednesday 1st. So Port Suez, so Prabhupada reached there. Then second, third, Canal and Port Said. Third, Friday. So here Prabhupada reached Port Said, and that was like very small but beautiful city. And then Prabhupada mentions about the city and everything. We'll not read. We'll go ahead. Fourth, Saturday, there was a rehearsal for emergency, right? So then fifth, Sunday, last, Malta and Sicily. So these are the 2 largest islands. We'll go ahead, we'll not read. And sixth, Monday, today I have taken khichdi and curry. It was tasteful and I took them with relish, and this gave me a push forward to get renewed strength little by little. Tuesday 7, Today, Barha Dwadashi observed the best atmospheric condition on Mediterranean Sea. All along, we have seen the Algerian coast. Wednesday 8, we are in Atlantic. So here, on 8th September, they reached Atlantic Ocean. And it was again roughest, one of the roughest ocean. And now we'll see what happens. So Thursday 9, we'll not read. Again, we'll go ahead. Thursday 9. Till 4 o'clock afternoon, we have crossed over Atlantic Ocean for 24 hours. The whole day was clear and almost smooth. I am taking my food regularly and got some strength to struggle. There is a slight lurching and I am feeling slight headache also. But I am struggling, and the nectarian of life is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the source of my all vitality. So this time, Prabhupada was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita and he was taking full shelter of Krishna. And on 10th Friday, so there was another pain. So one pain was like seasickness and headache. But there is another pain started on this day. That is like very positive pain. Today, the ship is flying very smoothly. I feel today better. But I am feeling separation from Shri Vrindavan and my Lord Shri Govinda, Gopinath, Radha, Damodar. The only solace is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in which I am tasting the nectarian of Lord Chaitanya's Leela. I have left Bharat Bhumi just to execute the order of Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati in pursuance of Lord Chaitanya's order. I have no qualification, but I have taken up the risk just to carry out the order of His divine grace. I depend fully on their mercy so far away from Vrindavan. So here Prabhupada is feeling separation from Vrindavan, we see. 11th Saturday, we'll read some another part. At night, there was profuse moonlight on the ocean and considerable lurching also, but did not affect me very much as it used to do in the Arabian Sea. The Atlantic Ocean is more kind to me than all other seas, for we have crossed over. It is all Lord Krishna's grace. So Atlantic is one of the roughest, and but still Prabhupada is giving all credit to Krishna because Krishna is taking the charge. Sunday 12th, we'll go maybe for 5 minutes and then we'll end. Okay? Today there is a great deal of lurching, although the sky is clear. Mrs. Pandya, although a little lady but very intelligent and learned also, she has foretold about my future thanks to her prediction. Actually, she was astrologer. Right? So she had predicted that Prabhupada will go through some crisis. All blessings of Lord Krishna for her. The crisis which I supposed to have crossed is also mentioned by her. If I have crossed the crisis, then that is the goodwill of Krishna, my friend and philosopher. In the evening, there was too much lurching and I felt a bit seasickness. I could not take my food properly. A little sweets were accepted with some relish. The lurching continued till midnight. So actually she foretold about Prabhupada, that Prabhupada will go through some crisis, but she could not tell that who will save him. Right? So it was Krishna who could save Prabhupada. Monday 13, today I have disclosed. So on 13th September, Prabhupada wrote that famous song, right? Krishna Tava Punya Have Bhai. So here he mentions, today I have disclosed my mind to my companion Lord Shri Krishna. There is a Bengali poem made by me today in this connection. At about 11, there is a little lurching. The captain tells that they had never such calmness of the Atlantic. I said it is Lord Krishna's mercy. His wife asked me to come back again with them so that they may have again a calm Atlantic Ocean. If Atlantic would have shown its usual face, perhaps I would have died. But Lord Krishna has taken charge of the ship. So from this day onwards, 3 people, actually they came to Prabhupada and they said that we had never seen Atlantic so calm. It was 0-degree waves, right? It was calm like a lake. So first captain came, then captain's wife came, then a third person is chief engineer. So he also came to Prabhupada. And then another first officer. So one person is known as first officer. So all these 4 people came and they told Prabhupada that we had never seen such calmness of the Atlantic Ocean. And for all 3 of them, Prabhupada gave only one answer. I said, yes, it is all Lord Krishna's grace, because due to my severe type of seasickness, he has himself taken charge of the ship. So Prabhupada, in Mayapur, he explained what had happened. So he said, I had a dream that there was a big boat, lotus boat, and Krishna, all with his incarnation, he had come and he's rowing the boat. So that towing, that this Krishna's boat was actually pulling Jalduta. And then Prabhupada told all the chief engineer and everything. Actually, the Krishna was deflecting all the waves, Atlantic Ocean waves, and they could not see. Krishna was deflecting. Like that, Prabhupada told them. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Tuesday the 14th. Okay, we'll read some part. At 10 o'clock, when I was in the captain's room, okay, so Prabhupada explains that what captain said. So we'll go to 15th, Wednesday 15th. I was engaged. Here, interesting thing that Prabhupada in Atlantic Ocean, he's reading. I was engaged in reading Kaliya Daman Leela from Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the prayers by Srimati Nagpatnis and the last appealing prayers by Kaliya, because Prabhupada was in the ocean and he was taking shelter of Krishna. Like that. Thursday 16. Okay, so here interesting thing, Prabhupada is about to reach. So Thursday 16th, actually, the boat about to reach Boston. So we'll read some part. The first officer told me that they never had such experience of the Atlantic Ocean, and he ascribed the good luck to me. I said, yes, it is all Lord Krishna's grace. Because due to my severe type of seasickness, he has himself taken charge of the ship. In expansion of Lord is rowing the oars. We shall certainly reach to America port safely. The whole day was clear, sunshine, but at 4 p.m., the sky all of a sudden became foggy. The sun became dim, covered by foggy weather. The horizon is still visible. So here, again, Prabhupada is about to reach, but again, a lot of fog was there. And then Prabhupada writes, let us see what is still ahead. The ship is stopped completely at about 6 p.m. on account of dense fog. Be Lord Krishna pleased to get out this fog. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the fog was cleared after 2-3 hours and the ship started. The whole night was non-disturbing, and today on the 36th day of our journey, we reached safely at Boston port at 5:30 a.m. So on 17th September, early 5:30 a.m., Prabhupada reached Boston. So Friday the 14th, Friday the 17th, we are now on the dockyard of Boston, and at 10 a.m. the custom officers and others came to the ship. They have now issued the admittance permission after due checking, etc. I saw the Boston town with the captain. It is very nice, and I shall describe it in a separate note. So actually what had happened, so on 17th, Prabhupada reached Boston, and then Captain Pandya, he wanted to go for some shopping. So Captain Pandya invited Prabhupada, and Captain Pandya and Prabhupada, they both went to for shopping and everything. But Prabhupada did not do shopping. Prabhupada saw, this is the first time Prabhupada is seeing USA, right? And then on 18th, so again they came back, and we stayed the whole day and night at Boston till 4 p.m. next day. So from Boston, ship went to New York. Right? So Prabhupada got down in New York, actually, in Manhattan. And here on Boston, they had asked Prabhupada that how long you want a visa. So that time Prabhupada was thinking, I have only 1 month sponsorship. And but they gave 3 months visa for Prabhupada. So Prabhupada asked for 2 months, but they gave for 3 months. So that was the system. So immediately for tourist visa, they used to give for 3 months. And every month, then Prabhupada used to go, and then he used to renew the visa. So after 1 year, then again he went. So that time they rejected. We cannot renew your visa because you came on tourist visa, and now it cannot be renewed. And then from there, Prabhupada had gone to Canada, and then he took permanent residency from Canada. And from Canada, he came back again to USA. And then he showed, now I am Canadian citizen, now you give me permanent residency. And they said, okay. So it happened like that. So here then, when Prabhupada went to Boston, so that time Prabhupada saw that everything, that whole the city, and everyone is filled with a lot of passion and ignorance. And then on 18th, Prabhupada wrote that Markine Bhagavad Dharma. So teaching Krishna consciousness to America, or in America, like that. Hare Krishna. So on 18th, okay, we'll read 18th and then we'll stop. 18th Saturday. Today is the 37th day of our journey. At 4 p.m., we left Boston port for New York. In the morning, I had telephonic talks with Gopal Agarwal in Butler, and he said that his man will receive me at New York and dispatch me to Butler by bus or a train. I tried to contact Dr. Mishra, but he was not available both yesterday and today. I do not know if he is coming to receive me. Today, I met 2 American nice gentlemen. Mr. Gardener and Friar. We passed a beautiful canal and crossed underneath 2 overbridges, but at midnight there was considerable fog disturbance and the ship moved very slowly. The fog persisted till we reached late at New York port at 12:30 on 19th. Sunday 19th. Today is the 38th day of our journey and we reached New York port at 12:30 p.m., about 3 hours later than the scheduled time. So on 19th, Prabhupada got down at New York airport and then this Gopal Agarwal, he had sent one person. And then on 20th September, early morning, Prabhupada reached Butler. Early morning around 4:30. And that time as soon as Prabhupada reached there at Gopal Agarwal's place, so that was very small house. So that time Gopal Agarwal told him that you take rest on sofa in the hall. So Prabhupada took rest there. And next day, they had arranged Prabhupada's accommodation somewhere else. That is YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association. So that was like Christian Dharmashala. So that was like dormitory. So Prabhupada used to stay there. And from there, Prabhupada used to come to Gopal Agarwal's house. Early morning, he used to come for milk. And then he used to come for lunch. And then in the evening, he used to come to meet people. Because that time Prabhupada used to take some programs. And then he told Sally Agarwal that, I will give your house address. So in the evening, I'll come there and I'll meet people over there. So very important day that Prabhupada reached today in the Boston. And actually, Prabhupada came to dispel all our ignorance and all our illusion. So important day that this is a very nice journey of surrender. We can see that how Prabhupada was surrendered to the instruction of his spiritual master and the instruction of Krishna. Right? So we can meditate on this day and we can pray that we can also serve our spiritual master in this way, in the mood that Prabhupada served. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki.